Hello Multihulls world. Welcome aboard this magnificent ORC57. We are at Olympic Marine in Greece, and tomorrow we will be starting the Aegean 600. A rather sporty, quite intense race that will take us across the Aegean Sea for 3 or 4 days with very varied weather conditions, light winds at the start. But afterwards we'll have to face the famous Meltemi, that wind which can be quite strong between the Greek islands, along with a fleet of 8 multihulls, a fairly eclectic mix of boats. The range goes from the magnificent design Nigerian Prince, a one-off 78-footer Allegra, to production boats. We'll have an Outremmer 4X, an ORC 50. There's also a Blanc Bleu Rouge, a one-off, and a Rapido Trimaran 53 feet long. In short, a magnificent fleet, exceptional conditions, a fantastic playground. See you tomorrow at the starting line and follow the race with Multihulls World.
Good morning. So, yes, people call me Soulis. My real name is Athanasios Papadoniou. I'm an IRO, International Race Officer, and I'm involved with the Aegean 600. This is the 5th edition. So, the last 5 years we're trying to upgrade this race, and I think we're on in the correct route. So every year we've got more multi-hulls boats. So this year we've got 8 of them, and it's very exciting having them over here in our race. And as I can see from the previous years, they're performing really good. For the next coming days, we will be not having the wind speed that we had in the previous races. It's going to be a little bit more lighter. And the race, as you mentioned, is very demanding because it's not a 600 straight line race. You need to go do something like a slalom in between the Greek islands, which means that you're going to be having all kind of sailing. So you're going to be beating, you're going to be reaching, you're going to be running. So it's going to be having a lot of sails pulling up and pulling down, and you're going to be passing through 13 Greek islands during this race. Hopefully, in the previous years, in less than 2 days, the first boats were coming to the finishing line. I think that this year, according to the wind predictions that we're having, it's going to be after 2 days, the first boat coming to the finish. We'll be waiting for all the boats over there, and wishing everybody good luck and to enjoy this race.
On the eve of departure, some crews take the opportunity to train, practice maneuvers, or for some, even discover their multihull for the first time. Aboard Avel Vaez, we use these last hours to finish emptying the boat to make it as light as possible, and we brief ourselves on onboard safety and the organization of our roles. On Sunday morning, we are the first to head out to explore the starting area and do a few tacks to warm up a bit. The playground is stunning, as we will be starting just below the Temple of Poseidon at Cape Sunion. This theatrical mythological setting, 2,500 years old, is the perfect backdrop for this modern-day naval battle that will begin in a few hours. Just before the start, the wind settles at around 18 knots and the tension on board begins to rise slightly. During the pre-start phase, we take the opportunity to analyze the water, determine the favored side of the line, and also assess our competitors. The start is one of the key phases of a regatta, because you have to manage a good start without being hindered by bigger and faster competitors, and without getting hit or causing a collision. In this little game, we do pretty well, rounding the offset mark in 3rd position, just behind the Rapido 53 XS, which seems very fast upwind. We hoist our Gennaker, taking a course slightly above the direct route to try to gain ground to the south as quickly as possible and be affected as little as possible by the light winds that have been forecast. Our competitors are making multiple maneuvers. Some seem hesitant to hoist the spinnaker, while others head up toward the Windward Islands in search of fresher breeze. The breeze, which had eased off a bit, picks up again, and at times we're sailing at over 16 knots. Unfortunately, by late afternoon the wind dies away completely and we find ourselves becalmed about 20 miles from Milos. Not a breath of wind. Our powerful catamaran struggles to move in these very light airs. We have to stay very focused, attentive to the slightest puff of wind. And paradoxically, it's often in these conditions that experienced crews make the difference. The big racing monohulls are starting to catch up with us. A crew member on a maxi begins a little dance to try to summon the wind. It's a vain hope. We remain becamped for hours, covering only about 20 miles during the night. At dawn, we finally pass the islet of Antimilos, after relentless effort.
Bon alors, la régate, ça te plaît?
By late morning, we find a bit of wind again and head toward the next waypoint, the island of Santorini. Unfortunately, our catamaran doesn't have a large spinnaker, and we fall a bit behind on the long downwind legs when the wind is below 18 knots. Sailing at sunset in the Santorini caldera is an unforgettable memory. The ochre cliffs glowing under the last rays of the sun, contrasted by the multitude of white houses perched in the villages of Oia and Fira, make for a breathtakingly beautiful sight. The wind drops off again, becoming very light. We are overtaken by a multitude of monohulls, which are much faster than us in light winds. We have to stay focused despite the beauty of the scenery. We begin a series of tacks in the night, in 10 knots of wind, to get out of the caldera. The crew stays well engaged and, in the end, we manage pretty well. Next, we head downwind towards the islands of Kassos and Karpathos. At dawn on the third day, we jibe just a stone's throw from the ridge. Once again, the lack of a large spinnaker puts us at a disadvantage and our competitors catch up with us. Fortunately, by playing with the gusts in the lee of the islands, we managed to hit runs of 25 knots. And this time, it's the monohulls that are struggling the most. Sailing at high speed at rather challenging wind angles for a multihull in very gusty conditions requires the crew to keep their hands on the sheets, but the behavior of the ORC57 is remarkably stable. In the evening, we finally arrive off the coast of Rhodes after having caught up with most of our competitors. On the morning of the fourth day, we set off again, close hauled, to round the rock of Candelusia, which lies about 40 miles to the west. With the Turkish coast lined with cliffs and the Greek islands bathed in the early morning light, the scenery is once again remarkable. The wind, which was fairly strong at first, eventually died down in the afternoon, and it took us a long time to reach Candelusia, that tiny speck of rock lost in the middle of the Aegean Sea. We spent the night negotiating the passage through the coast strait in almost non-existent wind. And guess what? By early morning, all our buddies had caught up with us. This is the fourth fresh start since the beginning of this race. Completely insane. Fortunately, the wind picks up again around midday as we reach the Icaria Sea, and this time it's quite brisk. with 2 reefs in the mainsail and the staysail up. Despite the tough conditions, we're sailing at a fast pace even, though some young stomachs are starting to rebel. In the late afternoon, the wind shifts and picks up for a fast run to Mykonos. We speed at 20 knots through choppy sea, surrounded by lights of the Aegean. We must use these conditions to get away from our pursuers, with a calm last night expected. At dawn on the 5th day, we're a stone's throw from finishing when the wind dies. We are caught up and finally cross the line on a last breath, finishing 3rd among the multihulls. The crew is happy with the work and wants to return next year.